Martin Machain from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, and this is the Tjridoo podcast. And with us this day is from Italy, Andrea Ferroni. Thank you, thank
Nice
you.
to see you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much for letting us to have you here. And this is so awesome. This is so awesome because I'm one of the huge fans of you. Uh, I remember the first times that I was looking for videos on YouTube. Uh, I saw lots of videos and lots of didgeridoos from you. And the Wind Project. I remember those didgeridoos that Joao, Carlo, Marcus, and
Yeah.
those instruments are so fucking good. And one of the traditional questions, the question that I make to everyone, it's how do you how do you my English how did you saw and heard the first time the didgeridoo, and then how do you start to play?
Okay, so I was lucky because it was 2002, and I was driving my car, and I found a small supermarket where I wanted to drink something. And close to the parking, they organized the first didgeridoo, the first Italian didgeridoo festival.
Ah, mira, what?
I didn't know at all about that festival. I didn't know at all about the Tjridoo. So that was the first time I had the occasion to find someone who was playing this kind of instrument. And I remember when I was there, I only thought that's weird. There are some guys they are blowing inside of a rope log because the Didgeridoos they were just made from a sort of rope log from wood. I
Uh-huh.
didn't say anything about that. I only thought, how does it work? And then I stayed there for a while and I went away. But then weeks later, I said that festival was so nice because I met people from France, from Germany, from Portugal, from Poland, and they also had Aboriginal players there. And so I said, I want to meet them again. And by coincidence, I had friends. They were in touch with the organizers,
Sí.
and I went back there, and I meet the organizers. And so I started to play with them, to start playing with them, and uh, after 1 year, I had the chance to cooperate with them, and I started to be how to say the artist director of the festival because I was the only one who used to speak English, not so good as nowadays, but I also started to play 3 hours a day, not less. I was, if I can say so, I was quite mad like you are because I see you playing every day and you publish videos every day of you playing, and I did the same. 3 hours a day for not less than 3 or 4 years, and
Oh,
then they started to organize the event in a quite nice place, and every week we met in a quite huge house, and now that house is my house. And so I live in the same place where we used to organize the first Italian Didgeridoo festival that now is finished. We do not organize it anymore. We have the Diginots Festival in Forlimpopoli,
mhm.
uh, but I'm so glad about that. And so that was the occasion to be in touch with several players for all around the world because I received lots and lots of CDs, and that was the occasion also to meet other festival organizer from all around Europe, and so this is why I played also so many time in Europe. So I played for I think 7 time at the Tjridoo festival, 3 time in the Didgeridoo festival. Um, Germany has some festival, but they are stopped from time to time. But so this is how I began, and then how I continued.
So awesome that it was like, I'm driving here. What's that? Oh, Didgeridoo festival. Well, a festival. Oh, let's see. And a lot of people blowing some sticks.
Yeah, it was really strange because I thought that was not music, but that was not music because they were just guys. They were trying the instrument maybe for the first time, or they were really beginners because it was 2002.
2002, there was not so much, or yeah, not so much information on internet. And also, internet, it was like very limited.
Yeah,
I remember using a computer in 2001, 2002, but I spent like 150 pesos. That could be like $10, kind of 10 or $12 by hour. So very, very expensive, the internet.
yeah.
And also, and there was no information. So that's very awesome about those times, because people, how people manage to, or you, how do you develop your playing without information? Because myself, there is no players over here in Tijuana, just me, and I have to learn with YouTube. But
Yeah.
those days, how do you manage that?
Okay. When I started, I don't know how, but I had really few information, as you mentioned.
Hmm.
I remember I bought my first didgeridoo in a huge supermarket for a very cheap price. It was a thick didgeridoo from Indonesia, but I found it in the supermarket on the shelf. I I never found it anymore, and the price was €6, so about $6.
Hmm.
I said, okay, I tried to blow inside of it. I knew nothing about that, but a sound came out and so I said, okay, I buy it. I buy it. And I started trying just the basic drum. And I remember from a music book from the lower school. So when I was about 10 years old, about Louis Armstrong, that he used the circular breathing. And they said he just accumulated the air in his mouth and he continued to play for a while. That was the only information I had. So I tried to figure out how the circular breathing could work because I didn't have internet at the time at home. And in a week, I learned how to make the circular breathing. And so then I said, I have to meet the Tjridoo Festival guys to play with them. And so at the beginning, I tried to imitate what they used to play. Some of them, they were quite good considering my starting point. And then I tried to create rhythm. I looked for CDs. It was really difficult to find CDs. I found a CD, for example, where they wrote Didgeridoo on the cover of it. But then the CD was about blues music with just 2 songs with a, a bit of a didgeridoo. Yeah, it was really a few. I must say that was difficult than nowadays trying to learn something. But on the other hand, from my point of view, was also better because I had the illusion to invent something.
Mm. Oh, okay, okay.
Because later I also started to study saxophone
Mhm.
and guitar. But every time I bought a CD with a saxophone player or a guitar player, they were so so much better than me that every time I felt frustrated. And so in this way, every time I got a CD, even from other players all around Europe,
Mhm.
quite often I don't want to give critics to other players, but we were at the beginning, and so some of them were nice, but not so nice to felt unconfident with it.
Mhm.
I also received CDs from great players like Didgeridoo, Matthias Müller, Michael Jackson, Lies Beering, Ansgar Stein, and many others. I don't want to, Markus Müller. I
Mhm.
don't want to forget someone, but I remember there were some CDs they were great, and some other they were just quite good. And so this is why I could try to ask other festivals to play in their events, because I used to play with a few of air. I really wanted to have very clean sound, and I tried to play rhythmical stuff. And in this way, maybe people could like my music or maybe not. But having not so many teachers at the beginning gave me the chance to develop something that is personal. Maybe people could like it or maybe not, but it was nice to go in this way. I also had teachers anyway. So after 1 year, I had a workshop with Ansgar Stein.
Mhm.
It was a quite simple workshop, but it was very important to me because he helped me a lot to clean my sound. I went in Spain, in Arbusias, in a festival organized by Rai de Orna.
Mhm.
Uh, he's a very nice guy, not so known, maybe too much today in the Didgeridoo scene. But he organized a 5 days workshop with Michael Jackson, Matthias Müller, Lies Beering, and Michael Jackson. I already told him. I don't know. And yeah. Anyway, it was very good to be confident more about what I could play. And then I also started teaching. So I understood that I have um, the ability and the knowledge to pass maybe the basic to my students. And so I started immediately to pass what I knew to other guys. And so this helped me a lot to understand better what I was doing. And yeah, that's it. So I started when I didn't have internet at home. YouTube arrived, I don't remember how many years ago, but yeah, maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah,
So
kind of.
the first 5 years, I couldn't have YouTube. In Italy, we had a website that is called didgeridoo.it that was made by friends of mine, and it was pretty the only website with lots of information. So I started to cooperate with this website. I published articles on it, and then when he stopped to enlarge and to publish new articles, I asked him and I bought it. So now it's my website, and this was published in 2000. So I'm
Okay.
very glad because this website now is 23 years old,
Whoa.
and
Awesome.
I'm publishing new articles and new also videos that I publish on YouTube. People can also write articles, and if they want, they can send me articles, and we can keep an agreement, and we can publish more stuff in there.
Awesome. Now we have our friend from Bogota, Colombia. He's my friend. He's gonna co-host over here. Si tienes preguntas, Camilo, pues arre, véngase. Acá,
Hola, ya me ven, es que no me escucho casi. Entonces, un gusto, Andrea.
Ciao.
Un placer conocerlo para nosotros latinoamericanos. De hecho, siempre ha sido una pregunta conocer personas que estudien la construcción del didgeridoo, ¿no? Porque usualmente se creía o se creía desde lo tradicional que era que no había ninguna regla en cuanto a la construcción, ¿no? Como que solo era abrir un hueco dentro del instrumento, del árbol, por decirlo así, y entonces de pronto ya cuando empiezas a construir cada vez más, te das cuenta que, de hecho, antes de que empezara la reunión, estábamos hablando con Jonathan acerca de algo que cómo es posible que un tronco que mide 1,50 y uno que mide 1,60 puedan tener la misma nota. Sí, a veces la
permí-
gente lo hacía.
permíteme, do you understand or you need translation?
I understand quite well. Unfortunately, I can't speak Spanish, but
No,
yeah.
no, no, don't worry. I
Don't
understand
worry.
English.
Yeah, this is gonna be so fun because I understand Italian. I don't know why I understand Italian and Portuguese, but I cannot articulate phrases. And with you, Andrea, you understand Spanish, but I understand you that you don't know how to articulate the phrases. It's gonna be fun.
Okay. Yeah, they are Latin languages, so some words are very similar each other, but sometimes not. I remember I was in a camping and they asked me for where my coche was, and I didn't understand the meaning of coche. I don't know. That is my car. So I don't know if you also use coche for this kind of words, but I was in trouble. But yeah, okay. So I can't articulate sentences, but I understand quite well. So the thing is, how to say in a simple way. We have to think that inside of the didgeridoo, the pressure wave between our lips and the bell. Okay, first of all, many people think about that inside of the didgeridoo, the air moves from the mouthpiece to the bell, like following the fluidodynamics laws. But this is not true. The didgeridoo works in this way. We have I can just take my didgeridoo, and so we put our lips in the mouthpiece, and we just have a beat like this with our lips, and so then a wave of pressure moves from the mouthpiece to the bell.
Mhm.
As a positive wave of pressure, it arrives at the bell. I don't explain you why, because otherwise it becomes a quite long explanation. But a positive wave of pressure goes to the bell. It changes sign and goes back like a negative wave of pressure. Then our lips are closed, and so the negative wave of pressure bounces back and goes back to the bell. Then it changes sign again, and a positive wave of pressure goes back to our lips. So positive wave of pressure, negative, negative, positive. And so in this way we have the complete wave. Okay, 0 positive, 0 negative, 0. Doing so, when the pressure find chambers, so where the didgeridoo enlarge, it can go faster. And when it find something that decrease in dimension, it goes slower because the impedance change. And so in this way, changing the shape through the length of the didgeridoo can increase or decrease the speed of the sound. I don't know if this is clear as a very short explanation of this effect. So I tell you just an example. If we have a cylindrical pipe or a conical pipe with the same length, we have two different keys. So we know that cylindrical pipe has a lower key than a conical pipe.
Okay.
So, for example, if I have a cylindrical pipe plus a small bell, like a didgeridoo, for example, it sounds like even if we add 10 centimeter, 15 centimeter, or 12 centimeter of a bell, that bell does not work for the key like if I add 10 centimeter of a narrower didgeridoo part. I don't know if it was clear. So we can't see the didgeridoo just as the length, but as the proportion of the diameters through the entire length.
Yes.
Sí.
Here we are like three constructors. I make didgeridoos and I make some crazy things sometimes. Camilo also makes didgeridoos, so we understand. Ay, pues, pinche madre. Well, okay. I was like thinking in the same way like you, that people think that you blow the didgeridoo in the air column and all that kind of stuff that some people say. But as you did this on the didgeridoo, it's not the fucking wind that makes the didgeridoo sound. Is the sound of the lips, like this,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the wind. That's what confuses the people. And I always I put the example of water. When like a plumber,
In a
you
bottle.
no water, you fill the pipe with one diameter, and the pressure is gonna be with a cylindrical, the pressure is gonna be like stable. But if you add lots of um
Tips.
uh, diameters, you have to push a little bit to this very crazy examples that I put in my head. But yes, that's me perdí. I got lost.
People think that we need a lot of air. So one of the questions is always you need to have really huge lungs to play the didgeridoo. And I always answer, I'm not a gladiator. I'm just I work in an office. The most energy I put is just to push the keys on my keyboard. It's not true. I also do other stuff in my workshop or at my house, and so I like to work with my hands, but just to joke with that. And I say, if I play the didgeridoo, I use the same air I use to how to say spegnere a candle when it's your birthday and you have a candle on your, yeah, like you don't need so much air for just one candle. And so we need air just because the air is something that enforces our lips to continue to vibrate. But if we would be able to vibrate our lips without air, the didgeridoo sound anyway.
Mhm. Exactly. And there is air in the bell section, not because we are blowing on purpose, because the lips are doing this.
Yeah.
You do this very much, it will be air, not because we blow air on purpose, but because the lips. I think there is more air on the lips doing this
Ah,
than the air that we blow out.
okay.
Yeah,
The question is, the didgeridoo is a wind instrument or not? I think the it's a vibrational instrument. No, it's not a wind instrument, not
Wind, not wine.
wind.
Wind.
Wind. Yes. Okay.
A wind instrument.
Wind. Estaba pensando en eso.
Sí, 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 pinche borracho. No, yeah, it is. It is a wind instrument like a saxophone. It doesn't.
Pero en la técnica a lo que se refiere es eso, porque no realmente es vibración, menos viento.
It's the same thing with saxophone, because in the
Ajá.
saxophone you make
Mix.
the vibration on the reed. The reed is what what makes the saxophone sound. But the weird thing is that didgeridoo is in the brass instruments, and the saxophone is in the wood instruments, and they are very opposite. Where saxophone is made with brass and didgeridoo is made with wood, most of the didgeridoos, but they are classified the opposite. It's so crazy. One question: how do you start to making didgeridoos?
Okay. Yeah, okay. I like to do several things. So at home, I like to make beer, cheese. I rebuild my house with my hands. So usually I try to do several things by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started making the didgeridoo, it happens that I started playing the didgeridoo, as I told you, and at that time I only had the chance to find Wandu didgeridoo. I don't know if you know Wandu. Wandu was a company in Western Australia, where Aboriginal people use it to make didgeridoos, not traditional didgeridoo, but anyway, didgeridoo made from eucalyptus. And so I bought one of them. I remember I spent 300 euros for that didgeridoo, and 21 years ago was really a lot. And after 1 week, was broken. So I bought another one, and after 1 week was broken again.
Ah, que la chica.
Because because I used to play really a lot, and so some friends of mine said, yeah, but at the beginning you have to play not more than 10 minutes a day. So after a while you can play half an hour, and after a while you can play maybe an hour, but you have to take care of it. And they said, but now I'm just fall in love for this instrument, and now I want to play it. I can't wait 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. I want a didgeridoo that is good right now. And so I also spent quite a salary, because at that time my salary was maybe 800 euros. And so 600 euros was quite a salary for me. Mm-hmm. And so I went to my father's workshop, and they said him, okay, you used to work wood when you was young. Maybe you could try to make just a pipe. Do as you wish. Just make a pipe 1 meter and 30 centimeter long, with a diameter from maybe 30 millimeters to 50, and let's see what happened. I tried it, and it was better than the didgeridoo I had. And so I said, if he is able to make a didgeridoo and he knows nothing about it, I can do it. And so I started making didgeridoo because I needed reliable didgeridoo for myself.
Mm.
This was how I started. I didn't want to sell didgeridoos. I didn't want to make a market of it. I really wanted to have a reliable didgeridoo. But then I also really loved what I was doing because I'm a technician. I was a technician at that time. And so I wanted to continue that kind of job. It was nice because, as I told you at the beginning of the interview, I had the illusion to discover something. And so I started to create a different shape. And for example, my favorite shape is an F didgeridoo that I always used, and you probably know that is the F didgeridoo that I also made in wood and in fiberglass, and they sound exactly the same.
Yep.
That didgeridoo was born just for a mistake. I started to work outside the didgeridoo, and I reduced it too much, the shape close to the mouthpiece, or too much from my idea of the didgeridoo, because at that time I only had the didgeridoo that was really, really large, and so I wanted to replicate that kind of shape, because that shape to me was the good shape. But then I said, okay, I made a mistake. I worked too much outside, so now it is too thin. Maybe the internal part will be too narrow, but okay, I will try to make it. And the result was amazing, because I was not able to play the tooth with the other didgeridoos, and with this one, my tooth came out immediately. And so I completely changed my way of playing. And so I said, I have to study more about this instrument. So I started to study on the net, finding information not from the Tjridoo website, because it was not possible to find information, or I found only wrong information at the time. I used to surf on the net to find documentation from universities and so on about physics. And so in 2006, I found the website of the university in Modena and Reggio Emilia, that it is also in English, and it is based like Wikipedia. So you find information about. It is a website of physics acoustic applied on musical instrument. The website is called Fisica onde Musica. So if you write Fisica onde Musica on Google, you will find it. And so we cooperated, and we created one of the first software where you could put dimension of the diameter and the length, and software gave us back the tuning of the basic drone and the toots. And so I'm really glad they were able to implement some pages on the university website. And just a couple of days ago, I found that they wrote some acknowledged about what we did together, because I did some work with them, but then I just, so they created new pages of the pipes with mixed shapes, so cylindrical and conical parts mixed together to create a different shape. So this was a point. Then I continued, and in my office, I work in a huge company where they work. At present, I'm working for engine for passenger cars, and so I study with them everything about the vibration of every components in the engine, and I have to study the effect of it. And this gave me the chance to make several studies. And the last one that I just published in last week is a study where I analyzed two shapes. The open didgeridoo shape that is available on the net, so anyone can take the dimension of the didgeridoo that I have in my hands, and they can replicate it if they want. And another didgeridoo that is the largest spectrum in D that I made for years. I modified the shape, but that is so. I used two shapes. Several materials, so steel, hardwood, softwood, and fiberglass. And I also used different thickness, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 millimeters.
I wait.
And so I compared the same shape with, in physics, we always have to change one variable at a time.
Mm.
So if I used one shape, I used one shape with every time a different material. And then if I changed the thickness, I used just one material, for example. And so I made several comparison. At present, this study is in Italian, but really soon will be in English and in German as well.
Mm.
Frank Geipel and Ansgar Stein just worked last week to translate this article in German, and so it will be published on djridoofusik.de. I'm really glad for that, because also Frank Geipel is probably one of my meets, because he made 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, one of the best software to simulate didgeridoo shapes. So it's great to be really on the top level of everything we are doing, just because we are passionate of it.
Yes, yes, this is so awesome. That program is Digimo. That the first one that you said that you put the dimensions and then they throw the tuning is Digimo, or there's another one?
It's another one. I made an analysis of Digimo. I made some comparison of shape. I think Digimo is one of the best. We have really a few softwares, but
Mm.
Digimo is very nice, because you can have the resonances as a result. If you put a shape on this software, you get back the resonances of the basic drone and the tooth. You can also have the sound spectrum, so the color tone of the didgeridoo, the color tone of the first tooth. And so if someone is trained in about how to read it, is really nice. But Digimo has some bugs, so we need to pay attention, because, and you can experiment it. One bug that is really fine to find if we simulate two shapes. The first one that has one diameter that is the same from the beginning to the end, so it is just a cylindrical pipe. And so we put, for example, at the mouthpiece 30 millimeters, and at the bell 30 millimeters, with a length of 1 meter, we get a frequency. If we use 5 lengths, so 20 centimeter plus 20 centimeter plus 20 centimeter plus 20 centimeter, and every section is 30 millimeters, so we have two exactly the same shape, we will obtain a different frequency, and this is wrong. But it is just to say, use it, because that software is really nice, but just pay attention and check for the result, because you maybe have some small errors, or sometimes a little bit bigger. Anyway, I made two videos about Digimo that you can find on YouTube, one in Italian and one in English. And at that time, when I was trying, because I have no time to create my videos for a long time, so I just put on the camera and I talk what I want to say. And I was trying Digimo at that time, because usually I use another software, and I discovered that something was not okay in just some specific shape.
Mm.
But it's really nice.
Yes,
I wish they could implement it, because it's nice.
I use Digimo because it's what I have
Yeah.
right now, and I can say that it works. It works at least at 90%. I
Yeah,
just I just made a didgeridoo that not even William Thoren made it. It was a perfect fifth in the key of C with the first tooth in the key of G. The drone is in the key of C, 66 hertz. In the first tooth is in the key of G. Son 33, son 30. It's going to be almost 80, like 90 something. The 90 or 100 hertz the tooth. That if you play the tooth, is like playing a very high G, the first tooth, and it's very very crazy. And I made the shape on Digimo, and then a dude from New Zealand, Paul Ockwell, made that shape on 3D printed SLT files.
Okay, black
Printed.
one, you published it on a video recently.
Mhm. It was it's like mind blown. And the thing is that I'm trying to resolve how to do it in if you take one part off, it will be C sharp, the first tooth, G sharp. If you take away one part of the bottom, it will be D with C sharp trumpet. If you take another piece of the neck, it will be E flat, B flat. If you take another piece of the bell section, it will be E with C sharp. If you take another part of the neck, it will be G with D trumpet. You have a bunch of didgeridoos, multi-drone, because it has the tooth very low, and you can do like
I know
and
stuff.
it's so crazy. And I made it with Digimo, and I say it again, that didgeridoo, not even William Thoren made it, because the closest to that he got from a key of C, it was A sharp, I think. Told me a few months ago, it was the closest to that he could do in a key of C. It was A sharp, A sharp. He didn't uh, made the tooth all the way up to G, and
Yeah.
it's very very awesome. Another thing about didgeridoo making, because I was putting the example to the people that didgeridoo. I'm from the team that it doesn't on didgeridoo making, not music instrument making. On didgeridoo making, it doesn't matter the material. What it does matter is the internal geometry.
Yeah. What I could say, you are right. We do not, we can't compare guitar with a didgeridoo.
No, obvious.
These are two different things.
Mm.
What I can say is, for wind instruments, the material does not matter as people think. Adolf Sachs, for example, the inventor of sax, he said, uh, for wind instrument, the material does not matter. So the saxophone is made from, or better, when Adolf Sachs invented the saxophone, he had this idea because, you know, every time people wanted to have smaller band, because smaller band are cheaper.
Mhm.
Okay, and so every time in the past they had a quite huge orchestra and they had one trumpet. They needed at least three clarinet players, maybe even four or five. So if you had three trumpets, they also needed 10,
Mhm.
15. clarinet players. And so saxophone said, okay, I can change the shape of the clarinet, and instead of making a cylindrical pipe with a reed, I can make a conical pipe with a reed. Because we know that a conical shape has a bigger bell, and the conical shape is like, if you want to call someone, you use your hands maybe just to scream and say, oh, hello, I'm here. Okay. And
Okay.
if you want to create a conical shape, it's easier if I take just a metal sheet and they do something like this.
Simple.
It's simple. If I start with wood, it is more complex, because how can I make a conical internal shape? It's more complex, and we know that cylindrical pipe, shorter cylindrical pipe, has a lower keynote, and so the saxophone is much bigger, and so they needed bigger conical instrument, and so sax said, okay, we can use metal. That's it. You can also find, if I remember well, the Grafton sax that was made from plastic. Nowadays, they are going to make again plastic saxophone. The clarinet is often made with plastic, and people can't recognize the material of the clarinet. This is because for the wind instrument, what that vibrates and creates the color tone of the instrument is the air inside of the instrument. So the real instrument is the air column. The didgeridoo that we see is just the cover of it. At the opposite, if we change kind of instrument, like string instrument, we have a string that starts to vibrate. So usually the string is, I'm sorry, I don't know what is written inside, so don't care too much. Anyway, we have some strings. They are linked to the harmonic table. So when the strings start to vibrate, also the harmonic table start to vibrate, and the harmonic table is something that propagate the sound. Many of us tried to play an electric guitar without amplifier, or the bass, the electric bass. The sound is really soft. This is because the surface of every string is pretty nothing. And if you do not have a surface that push the air, you can't hear anything. So to propagate the sound, we need a string, and the string need to be in touch with something large and flat. So there are several experiments we could also do. I can't do it right now, but yeah, you know that if we want to propagate the sound, we need a quite big surface. And if this surface is made with a material or another material, can have a longer sustain or a shorter sustain, or also can change the color tone because on its own modal frequency that are, yeah, you should have to look for, maybe if you want, if someone listen this interview can read can search for modal analysis or modal shapes on Google, and you will find how body vibrates, for example.
Yes, it's like one of the examples of what you have said these new speakers that they are like very tiny, that you put the music on the speakers, it doesn't sound loud, but
Okay.
you take the speaker to a flat surface, and this speaker is gonna take all that surface and will sound like, I don't know, very very fucking loud.
Ah, okay.
Then has a speaker like this that he put this in the table, and it's like a big big speaker.
Sí,
It's
es como cuando tocas el didgeridoo en la boquilla. Es el sonido fuera del didgeridoo, pero al entrar a la boquilla ya se amplifica como...
amplifica.
Ujú.
It's
Yeah, there are several ways to amplify the sound, and in the past, the only way they had was to create a loud sound was to create huge loudspeakers.
Ajá.
Nowadays, there are several ways to amplify the sound. One of the way to amplify the lowest range, the low frequency range, for example, is to use loudspeaker with a sort of snake didgeridoo that came out in front of the loudspeaker, and this can emphasize the low frequencies. Instead of for their frequency, they usually use trumpet shape. There are several ways. Also, you can also use flat surfaces to propagate the sound. But this is something modern. They also used it in the past, but it's something like from the 70s maybe. But nowadays they can use very complex software to create something more advanced.
like it was a person I was on internet. If you got a agave didgeridoo and you put a hardwood didgeridoo, they won't sound the same. And I was like, and I was like, I made one didgeridoo of agave. I played Gypsy from Dan Flynn when he was here in Tijuana. I played Gypsy, and that agave sound just two tones. The first tooth and the second tooth. It was from Dan Flynn. It's G G sharp and F sharp. In that agave, it was G and F C, and they were the playability was the fucking same. The sound
Yeah,
same. It
one
was the
point.
I played those two didgeridoos, and it was the same, and it was from agave. What people don't think about, it's that this is why I said on didgeridoo making, it doesn't matter the material. They don't think about epoxy or polyurethane or any material you put inside to seal. They don't think in that variable.
This
Ajá.
is, but the most important thing is, as I was telling you before,
Huh?
every time we want to make an experiment, we have to change just one variables at a time.
Mm.
Ujú.
Um, I can tell you a sort of example. So imagine if you want to cook your favorite dish. I don't know which is your favorite dish, but in Italy we eat pasta
Maybe
or pizza.
yeah, pasta.
Okay. But imagine if we are cooking pasta, and one time I try to cook pasta with tomato sauce, mushroom, garlic, parsley, olive oil, salt, and paprika. Okay. The
Ok.
second time I say, okay, I try to change something, and they make pasta with cheese, onions, I don't know, some other ingredients, and then I say, okay, they taste different because I changed the shape of the pasta. You can understand that is wrong because I changed too many things. So if I want to make a comparison, I have to cook the same kind of pasta with the same tomato sauce, maybe the same garlic, the same basil, and maybe I change just one ingredient, and I can change the mushrooms. I use one kind of mushroom for the first kind of pasta and another kind of mushroom for the second kind of pasta. And then I them both, and I can say, okay, I prefer that kind of mushroom. But if I change for the didgeridoo, I change shape, I change keynote, I change material. One is varnished inside, another one is varnished is not varnished inside. One is made by a maker, another one is red, another one is black, and I don't know.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, yeah.
So if I want to do an experiment, I have to create two exact shapes with different material. That's all. But I have to create the same exact shape. I did it once. Frank Geipel and his team and the other guys in Germany, they also did it. But I did it once, and it is the F sharp, the F Tjridoo I mentioned before. And I tell you how I did it. So I covered the mouthpiece with plastic tape, and an electric wire inside, and I connected it with a tester you use to measure the impedance,
Okay.
the electrical impedance. Okay, so I put the didgeridoo in this way with the bell hub, and I put the meter inside. The meter inside told me that the entire length was 1 meter and 52 centimeter. So I took a syringe and I filled the didgeridoo with five milliliters of water. I put the meter where on the top of it I had the other side of the wire, and so when I got in touch with the water, I could see the impedance meter that told me, okay, you are touching the water. On the meter, I could see how much I reduced the length, and so I wrote, I think about 100 measurements of the didgeridoo inside, and so I could calculate it. I could calculate the diameter every 5 millimeters, 1 centimeter length. And so I create a mold to create a didgeridoo with the same exact shape, and I made this comparison. But I will send you the PDF file where I made the comparison with Actron Solver. Actron is the most important acoustic software in the world, used by many huge companies, from automotive or railways or aviation companies and so on. I will send you this the PDF, and soon the PDF will be available for anyone. I can't tell you a link to download it right now because I'm still waiting for the perfect translation, but anyone could see it.
Another thing that it came to me to my head. There is one thing about como civil engineer architecture that I always remember this example when it was a bridge in the United States.
Yeah.
That a lot of people started to walk on the bridge, but they were walking in the same steps, like the thousands and thousands of people were walking in like the same pattern of steps. Then the bridge started to do this. It was a solid. It was not like San Francisco Bridge. It was a solid bridge, and it started to vibrate at the same movement of the people. That is the that people made the natural resonance
Yeah.
of the bridge. On
Yeah.
didgeridoo making, that can be applied. I mean, I made some didgeridoos in one people asked it that, oh, my didgeridoo is singing. That's the natural, that's the natural resonancy that that
Okay.
you kind of understand me because my English is not enough. So,
No, 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 it's clear.
Tengo una pregunta en cuanto a lo que está diciendo Jonathan,
a
que
ver.
y es, por ejemplo, hablando de los básicos, ¿no? Porque aquí también se están tocando temas avanzados en el didgeridoo, ¿no? Por ejemplo, en lo básico y las personas que están en un nivel o que estamos en un nivel básico, por decirlo, de construcción, entre otras cosas, ¿qué se podría decir que es un didgeridoo afinado?
Mm.
¿Sí? O sea, ¿existe la posibilidad de un didgeridoo afinado o ahí voy a lo que está diciendo Jonathan, o es un didgeridoo que vibre a lo que yo quiero, por ejemplo, o se condiciona a su estilo, como lo hemos visto y como yo tuve la oportunidad de tocar un didgeridoo tuyo de un amigo mío italiano, que ¿cómo es que se llama el crespito?
William Goldsmith.
Oh,
Estuve en mi casa hace unos años y era, yo personalmente me impresioné mucho y yo creo que te conté cuando vi tu didgeridoo, Andrea, porque era algo muy sencillo, ¿sí? O sea, era el tubito muy sencillo, pero cuando lo tocaba sonaba, resonaba potente, o sea, era muy potente. Entonces ahí entendí algo con la construcción, que no necesariamente de pronto cuando uno inicia cree que entre más grande la campana suena más.
okay. Two things. The first question of Jonathan,
Ajá.
just to answer that question, we have to think about what the resonance is. And the resonance is, the toy for children we find in gardens, in parks, that is the swing.
Uh-huh.
So we push the kid on the swing, and the swing come back. When it arrives and it stops, we can push it again. And so if we find this natural frequency of the swing, we can push it more and more and more. If you push till a limit, the swing goes in a good way. But if we exceed, we risk to have okay. This is pretty the same that can happen with the bridge. So the bridge, if you step on the bridge can vibrate. And the best video probably is the Tacoma bridge, where you can see the bridge that moves really a lot, and you can see the bridge falling down.
Mm-hmm.
This is a part of my job, so I know how the components of the engine vibrate. And in the past, now I take care about the sound, but in the past I used to see how the components vibrate, and if the energy or of the engine was able to break these components. So it is possible. It's not possible with the didgeridoo because the instrument is the air, so you can't break the air.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can make vibrating some glasses, or maybe something on the shelf in your house. And sometimes we play the tooth, and something is vibrating, and something inside of our furniture start to vibrate. Maybe okay, you can't break anything with the didgeridoo. About the second question. First of all, it's nice to listen to William Goldschmidt name because he was one of my students, and we recorded a CD together before I started
Oh,
to travel the world, and I think he is one of the best Italian player, and maybe if not in the
that's
best
very good.
five, maybe in the best six Didgeridoo players. So it's amazing. Is he has so much passion. So he used to travel 80 kilometers to go and 80 kilometers to come back once a week to have lesson with us, with me and other guys in our association. And he did it for 3 years. And so I know he really spent a lot of energy on this in this instrument, and he improved really a lot. So is one of the few person that I pushed to play in a foreign festival because I was not able to go in the Didgeridoo 1 year, and so I said maybe William Goldschmidt can substitute me because he's so nice, and I'm very glad if he can play at my place. So just to say something about him, I think it's a lot. But anyway, many people think that a huge bell is important to have a good sound.
Okay.
But this is not so true. A huge bell can emphasize the sound, can create a louder sound. So sometimes people are pretty obliged to use bigger bell because they play on the street. And if you play on the street, you also need to have a bigger volume because otherwise you will be covered by the people they are just walking. But if I have a microphone, and I always play with a microphone, I prefer to use smaller bells, because if we use smaller bells, I don't need to have 4 centimeter bell, but not more than 9-10 centimeters. To me, it's better because the sound is much more clear.
Mm-hmm.
At the opposite, a large bell risks to emphasize much more frequencies, and so the sound came out that sounds richer. But when we play overtones line like oi, oi, this kind of sound is completely damaged because it is covered by the ground sound, by the basic drum itself. So I prefer to have a clearer sound because if we cover the overtones, we cover a lot of the didgeridoo. And in my case, I also prefer to play with a microphone because a microphone can emphasize silence and sound, and silence and sound. So if we have a small sound and silence, so they are really, really small. But if I put up the volume, a small sound can be really huge, and the silence remains silence. So the effect of small sound, silence, small sound, and silence could become like a hammer and silence, hammer and silence. If I
Uh-huh.
use a huge bell, I risk to have loud sound and a less loud sound, loud sound and less loud sound. And in this case, if I amplify them, I have a really huge sound and a little bit less huge sound. And so the dynamic does not change. So there are different ways to play. If we
Sí.
are obliged to play on street, yeah, but when I listen to someone playing with a microphone, like for example, in the last days I was watching Jonathan playing on the seaside, and it was nice because he was using loudspeakers, and the sound was more punchy. And so this is why I prefer smaller bell. And so William used a didgeridoo that seems ordinary, but it is able to make his music even more clear.
Ok. Otra pregunta es, a lo que te dedicas, que pues es hacer didgeridoos, ¿no? O sea, no pues como lo haces ahora, o a estudiar el sonido. Y había algo que nosotros alguna vez le comenté a Jonathan, y era, ¿puede suceder lo de la polaridad invertida dentro del didgeridoo? Es decir, alguna vez utilizamos un cast, el de Dan Flynn, un didgeridoo, y él decía en algún momento que lo que no le gustaba es que la polaridad quedaba invertida en algunos didgeridoos. Es decir, o sea, la calidad sonora o la presión sonora a veces no lograba ir toda hacia afuera de él. No sé si luego Jonathan me ayuda un poco a explicarle porque ya es como más técnico. Pero es posible mejorar esto, porque, o sea, eso es lo que queríamos de pronto hacer, porque él me decía que en algunos didgeridoos que se construían, la polaridad quedaba como invertida, o sea que el bajo, por decirlo en este caso, el bajo o los medios no sonaban, no emitían el sonido hacia afuera, sino al contrario, quedaban hacia adentro. Exacto.
Yes, I feel that on the Popeye, didgeridoo Popeye, el Popeye.
Okay.
It was very weird playing that didgeridoo. I don't know if you have seen Andrea. It's like literally like Popeye's arms. You know, Popeye the Sailor Man. Is like that didgeridoo. It's very narrow, and then it has a big ball, and then there is a now again very narrow, like 10, 15 centimeters, and there is another bubble, and then again is a again like not so narrow, but like 2 inch something, and then like a 30 centimeters bell section, but 12 centimeters. That's Popeye, and it feels very weird that didgeridoo because I wanted to do it punchy like my didgeridoo, like feeling the bass, but the polarity, it was like weird because it was not possible to take the bass in. It was a very weird
No, I
feeling.
understand.
Yeah, it was a very weird feeling.
Okay. If I understood well, I don't use to talk about polarity because
Okay.
there is a specific point where we have an exchange of pressure at the end of the didgeridoo, and it is always the same. So if I think about polarity in this way, in every didgeridoo, it should be exactly in a specific point. But if I understood well, and I know that shape, and I know what happened if we have shapes like that, it's a sort of back pressure damage.
Okay, yeah, it's the change the terminology. It's back pressure. Okay.
So I published a video about the back pressure in the didgeridoo. If you go on YouTube, you find, if you write didgeridoo back pressure, I have a 25 minutes video where I explain everything of it. But I can tell you something very simple. If you remind what I said before, so I have a didgeridoo and I knock my lip here, and I have the wave of pressure that goes from here to the bell, and this bounce back. Every time I find a big change of shape, a part of the back pressure is damaged Imagine, okay, imagine if I have the mouthpiece here, and then I go narrow, and I go straight, and then I have a bubble, a huge bubble. When I increase, if I increase too much, a bit of back pressure bounce back. Then when I change again, and so I become narrow again after a chamber, a bit of back pressure bounce back. And so if I do it for just one time, I have one bounce back, the second bounce back. Then I go to the bell, and then I bounce back the bigger part of the back pressure. But then I get again, I meet again the chamber, and so a small part bounce back, a small part bounce back, and then I go to my hips, and then I go back again. I lose a small part, and I lose a small part, and so on. This is why I don't like so much if there are huge bubbles. If there are small bubbles like some didgeridoos made with the cuts made by Frank Geipel are amazing. But if you ask the software to have specific tuning, the software can give you back some shapes, but even if I understood that it is possible to ask something back in terms of playability, we also need to have a big experience on shapes. Because, for example, I do the opposite. Since I don't have the software of Frank Geipel, I need to have my experience, and I go to change the shape where I need to match the basic drone and the tools. And I also change the shape to have the best back pressure I can. I can tell you another example with food. A software is just a calculator, and a calculator is something like a grinder. And if on my table I put different kind of food, and I put fruits, vegetables, meat, I don't know, honey, candies, sweet stuff, and alcohol, and the poison, and I mix some of them, I could get something that is extremely good and healthy. I could find something that is really, really bad, but nothing matter, but I also risk to die. Okay? And so Didgeridoo, for example, is something like that. If you do not have experience, you can match the tuning you need, but maybe that shape is not a good shape to be played. So in 2 weeks, I will have a workshop in our association that is 3 days long, and we will have a quite long theoretical lesson about how to create didgeridoos with specific tuning of the basic drone and at least the first tooth. And we will also spend some time in the workshop to create a didgeridoo made from fiberglass. So everything about how to make the mold and how to create the body and so on. So
I want to learn how to make my molds, because I just found a store here in Tijuana to make carbon that sell carbon fiber, Kevlar, fiberglass, and all that stuff, but I don't know how to work that shit. Fuck it. It's too far away. It's too far away. I wish I can.
If you come to Europe, I started also to have a workshop about just the theoretical stuff. So I have a workshop that is 6 hours long for the theoretical stuff about how to create a shape, how to tune the didgeridoo. But I can't at present do a workshop about how to make didgeridoo So the practical stuff that I do in my workshop. I could also think about it, but yeah, maybe in the future.
I need your workshop in Latin America.
Yeah,
The-
yeah.
the-
I think time, but yeah, I would like to travel. In the past, I used to travel a lot. And
another issue that on the didgeridoo world, but we're gonna save it for the next occasion for part two, because it will take us a lot of time in this next topic.
What?
yeah,
La afinación en 432. Oh,
Ah,
was the 432.
this is,
do you
The
know?
Ay, want to empezar this is a very huge theme that we can break it down in
it's possible. No.
no. I will just say no, it's not possible. Yes, it is possible, but it's not just tuning the it's not
It's real
it's,
tuning.
it's not just the tuning 8 cents of any tuner. It is more complex than that, but it is possible. But it is more complex. But it's gonna be another 2 hours to talk about that thing. But
Okay. Anyway, we can have another meeting if you want. But if you have questions, I can also create videos for my
yeah,
YouTube channel.
yeah. It will be so awesome because it is 1 hour and 20 minutes now of this awesome conversation. But I don't want to take you more time, and also I have things to do here
Yeah,
in my in
I
my
think
place.
so.
And thank you, muchas gracias, how to
Grazie a
say,
voi.
Muchas
molto
gracias.
molto grazie for your time and your knowledge. It's so fun and so interesting. All the things that you know, and you are,
Esperamos Latinoamérica, sí.
yeah, you study a lot of these instruments in the physics, acoustics, and all that stuff. It is so awesome. Thank you very much, Andrea. The one last words for the didgeridoo community, Latin American didgeridoo community. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. It was really a pleasure to be here with you. It's great that I could talk to you for the first time. We had some chats. We always meet on the net, but it is nice to add this chat. I'm glad to meet the Latin American guys, because yeah, one time I was invited there, but it was not so simple to find flights. Maybe in the next future. I'm so sorry that I can't speak so well Spanish or
No, don't
anyway.
worry.
I really enjoyed this interview. I think you can see it because yeah, I really love what I do. And yeah, if you want, write me a mail. I do not have too much time to answer anyone, but if I can, sometimes I answer with links. If you have questions and I don't have an answer that I can send you right now in immediately, I can make a new video. And yeah, why not? If you move to Italy or to Europe, please let me know. Maybe we can meet. And yeah, so I hope you find interesting what I told to you.
Yes, a
It's
lot.
important. Just I spent lots of time to these topics, and Jonathan was great for the question he made, because it touched the most important topic of my researches, and I don't want to be right in this topic. I just want to teach people, don't spend too much time on a wrong way. As I told you, it is really
Of course.
great to try to invent something, to discover something, and so it's great that you make experiences. Don't believe what I said just because you find me on YouTube. There are lots of people, they say wrong stuff on YouTube, but think about that. I try to give you all the information that are important to you to avoid mistakes. Then try anyway, do your mistakes, but then compare with what I said,
Mm.
and you will enjoy it more. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank
Have a
you.
So,
Bye bye. Have a good day.
Andrea Furlan. Digo, Furlan, perdón, Ferroni.
No problem.
Bye.